can't believe I'm regretting not watching more isekai anime. How the heck do I get back to the real world? Oh.
Clear clouds move above, dark hearts shudder below. We move as ghosts through the empired souled souls. We pay dues to the ferryman, carrying souls so far away. Dirty deeds done cannot be undone. Dirty deeds done. Again we come undone. The crimes of our fathers await the judge of our soul. Somber standing at the edge, blood river crashes below. Churn over boiling flames, reaper reads out our names. Go! Everything's done cannot be undone. Dirty deeds done. Again we come undone. Over barren, wasteful lands, the demons carry our carcass. The master lift calls our names. Hollow words, foul their fears. Dragged to the torture racks, bound and blinded with toil, under the hot flames forever. Dirty deeds done cannot be undone. Dirty deeds done. Then we come undone. We come undone. We come undone.
Wasn't luck. I've always known. I've always known that I could see.
Alrighty. It's Friday in America and Saturday down here in the South. How are you, Tim?
Oh, I'm here.
You are. And I am glad.
Yes. Yes.
How's your day been, mate?
Hold on. Can you hear me? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, unexpected.
All right.
Just unexpected. Yeah. So, kind of putting my focus right now is to kind of get back on track and kind of do all the things I was setting up to do.
That's cool.
Yep. So, how are you?
Well, my pronouns are I came, I saw, and I conquered.
Oh, my
So-
pronouns are. I was going to think of a really bad joke, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I was like, there's a possibility it will backfire on me, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, well, I thought of that yesterday when I was naming a future, a future post. Yeah, I mean, sorry, a stream, live stream. MPST. I always give them a new stream name, so whatever goes through my head. So this one, of course, is called "I'm Too Stupid for My T-shirt" or for my shirt, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you heard that, but like, there was some hoopla in wrestling this week that caused some fake news go out as well as good, the real news go out. So tell us, what have you heard?
I heard it was some wrestler named was it King Brodie or something Brodie?
Brodie King.
Okay.
This dude on the screen, this big, huge behemoth of a man who does not have to worry about anybody, coming up to him going, hassling him or anything like that. So, which kind of really annoys me because when you got this big, tough guys and they're out here, always like, throwing their weight around like they're tough and you should listen to them because they have some sort of celebrity. Never mind the little fellas who have to live in the street with the criminals.
I'm glad it wasn't like was it Viva Van or Zeta Zang because they're hot. So
well, Vader's been on doing what is it called, commentary on JCW wrestling.
You mean Viva Van?
Yeah, Viva Van.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, she does. Yeah,
because she was doing commentary for like Mexican outfits. I think like CMLL sometimes, and sometimes for other indie wrestling outfits for their television.
She did a lot of. Sorry, I forgot. She was doing a lot of wrestling in Asia, specifically Vietnam.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that Vietnam had.
Well,
I guess everywhere. Oh, she didn't know that.
Yeah, Viva Van. Yeah.
All right. So the headliner for today, of course, is AEW and these chants, anti-ice chants. But I just want to backtrack for a bit and talk about how over the past, I think 4 years that I've been watching AEW, that the audience members, particularly the leftists, are using AEW for propaganda, right? For ideology, for political things, when it should be a place where you can just go and be entertained. But they, like every leftist, want to turn everything, every entertainment and every joyful place where we can have fun into a political thing. Tom, you muted yourself.
There's always been some kind of like political whatever in wrestling, but it's never been so heavy-handed. I mean, you had like the Iron Sheik, or you had Sergeant Slaughter or whatever, but it wasn't that heavy-handed. It was still kind of like comic booky and kind of over the top. This is just kind of cringy.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of weird because like they'll have like trans big huge trans flags. They'll have Palestine flags, and this is just they did nothing about it, or maybe they did, And now when you have your own wrestler wearing a abolish ICE t-shirt, right? You gotta think like, well, are you guys actually policing your show or are you not? Because in the end, you're catering to everyone, right? It's a TV show. You're catering to everyone, not just to a particular group of people with a particular set of ideology and politics. And it made me want to not watch it, or instantly didn't make me want, like, I just lost interest in this wrestler right away, this dude here, right? Brodie King. And it just sucked because I really liked him. And I was like, well, I didn't even know that he's been out here like selling t-shirts that says abolish ICE and then giving that money to charities that actually, so-called charities, right, that help people, probably sneak into, I don't know exactly because I haven't looked into it, and I will look into it in a moment, but probably, that goes against the whole stance of actually protecting your citizens from criminals. So this, I think it's WrestleLamia covered it. So this is from their channel here. I'll put the link in the chat, and we'll watch it, and then we'll come back and comment on it. If you find, yep, there we go. The link, and in the chat is the link, and you guys can check out. Well, did not want to copy paste. Here we go. And so WrestleLamia is, it's got 2 million followers. And so there's some fake news put out by one of the wrestling commentators, Dave Meltzer. So I'm going to have to clear that up as well as we go into this, because that did not happen. You kind of like a fallout. So this is like a week ago, and supposedly on the 4th. So about 10 days ago for me, right? And I haven't been able to find the exact video, but I have found the actual show, the match this was on. But I have a clip from from an NBC News, right, who basically had this because it made the news, international news, because how cringe it was.
Taken action to stop these chants from occurring once again.
Whoops, went too far. Go over here. You go away. You play now.
Next up, an AEW wrestler banned from the show. Well, last week, the main event of AEW Dynamite featured anti-ICE chants, and WBD has reportedly taken action to stop these chants from occurring once again. The main event of the show.
So, yeah, WBD didn't. So they came out and said they didn't on the following show. They were saying about banning them or something. But it kind of seems strange that you would, because in WWE they actually mute the mics, crowd mics, when they have something that they don't want, right? Like when they start chanting AEW and
right.
stuff like that.
Show featured Brodie King, and King often uses his platform to speak out against ICE, and he's even worn anti-ICE clothing on AEW television. According to the Wrestling Observer Radio, WBD reportedly blocked King from appearing on last night's Dynamite. The deal is that they didn't want the fans in the arena to be chanting that. If Brodie came out, there was that risk. When it comes back, it will happen again. I don't know how they're going to handle it. It's not a Tony call. This is from above. A report adds that the network simply doesn't want to get on Donald Trump's bad side. You know what it is? Nobody wants to get on Trump's bad side. If it wasn't for that, nobody...
So this part here is all fake news, right? The dude made it up and then went back and changed his post about it. But here's the video from the actual, let me grab it from the actual news. Where is it? Come here, there we go. From what happened during the live show, right? Because like I say, like indie shows and AEW is an indie, considered an indie show. There's a lot of craziness, and that's why I like AEW, right, over WWE. And so when you go on wearing a t-shirt for weeks on end, and then you sell those t-shirts that are against you, even your own country's legal system, because to be honest, I think anybody who's anti-ICE is really shooting themselves in the foot, because they're trying to protect you from the criminals getting in, because everyone who gets in there illegally into your country is a criminal. They broke your law, right?
In the eyes of the champion.
So, I mean, that's really gotta suck, man. Like, to be able to, like, wrestling this dude here, and he's turned the whole crowd against you and against your country because, you know, he's all for the illegal immigrants, right? And here's the thing: they're not just from Mexico or South America; they're from China, from India. You know, I'm an Indian, but I'm from South Pacific. You know, from Sri Lanka, from Africa, from Asia. These are all able-bodied men who are carrying out crime in your country, and you're here promoting anti-ICE, anti-policing of those people.
Well, one, what does he have to gain from it? Two, is he just doing it just to look good in the cameras? Like, look how much I care about something.
Well, most leftists are like that, right?
Yeah. Today it's about like, oh, I hate ICE. Tomorrow it's about the climate or something. You know, it really means nothing.
I'm just gonna check with. I wanted to do this live, so I want to check his background with his anti-ICE stance, right? Because like he's selling T-shirts with "Abolish ICE" on them. So I know when I was looking into who he was a while back, like early on, like probably about 2 years ago, a year ago, he was helped to become, you know, into wrestling and looking after himself and whatever by Hispanic, you know, I think it was Mexican wrestling gym people, right? A couple. So that's kind of like his background. So he was helped by Mexicans, and he seems like he was very troubled youth, right? And so that kind of goes into now he's you know, usually people, and I've been that way myself, you kind of like, you know, take on you know, leftist ideals that seem good at the start, but really, you know, it doesn't help you so much if you're really not really, you know, in a way, if you're really shooting yourself in the foot, man. I feel like this is like, you know, you're top of the game, you're about to go for the, you know, AEW Wrestling Championship, right? The big belt. And yet you turn this whole thing into about politics at a time where everybody's divided. But hey, 90% of your, you know, 70% to 90% of the, actually, how many voters do you think voted for Trump? It was like, what, 60% or something?
I could look that up. I don't know. I'm beginning to hate politics on all sides, to be honest.
Same, man. That's why I try to leave it, you know, do as less as possible. But sometimes they go into my entertainment, man, and I love wrestling, and this really sucks when they come into wrestling. I mean, what's his name? I even hated it when, who's that blonde hair guy who just died? This 70-year-old dude, Hogan, right? Hogan. I really hated even Hogan when he was doing the whole politics thing, because, I mean, not hated it, but disliked it when even Hogan was doing it. But so this is Brodie King's background, right? So Brodie King, real name Nathan Blovett, is an American wrestler signed to AEW since 2022, where he was the part of the House of Black stable alongside Malachi Black. Malachi Black has gone to WWE. Buddy Matthews is injured, and Julia Hart has joined the Sisters of Sin. I think Sisters of Sin or Sisters of something like that. But she's in affection with Blue, and also this new character who I've forgotten is like Toxic Spider, and she's from is it Super? Oh man, there's so many freaking wrestling groups out now. I forget the name. So he's known for his hardcore wrestling style, tattoos, and background as vocalist for the hardcore punk band God's Hate, right? So King has competed in promotions like Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG, and he's World Tag Team Champion currently, but his partner is injured. So here's goes. So he's been outspoken for the last 2 years, right? So King has been outspoken against U.S. Immigration and Customs Enhancement, ICE, publicly advocating for its abolition through social media and merchandise. In 2024, he wore an Abolish ICE t-shirt during multiple wrestling events, including an AEW Dynamite match last week, right? Which prompted the Vegas crowd to chant "Fuck ICE" repeatedly. So King has approximately raised $59,000 for immigrant support groups in Minnesota. Oh no, it's Minnesota. No wonder he's freaking that hardcore.
Yeah.
It had to be.
Well,
Minnesota.
I've heard of that band, but I think the band I prefer more is Twitching Tongues. I think they're better.
Right.
But yeah, I think they're kind of lefty like that because I don't know, they don't do it all the time, but I think when they're on the shows he said quickly, "Free Palestine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
It's
uneducated.
like you can
people,
like
right?
you can like music and kind of hate with the band's politics.
Yeah, I think at this stage you have to do that because some people are just ignorant, I think, when it comes to this sort of stuff. And because they don't really go out to understand what the reason why it is happening, especially when we find so many criminals right now that ICE has been able to round up and deport because of how they, how much pain and suffering and gosh, the things that, that's going on with these people all around the world, with illegal immigrants. It's just sad, bro. It's like, imagine that happening to your child or your daughter or your wife, and it just becomes this whole big thing where how can you not want these people out of your country? So with that, we're moving along because we've been following the Comicsgate drama, and 2026 seems to be giving us lots of Comicsgate drama, even in February. Have you seen this clip from Kino Casino that Lisa clips? Clipped?
No, I don't watch them.
Neither, but the clips, makes it so much more fun because you only get the snippets of the good stuff sometimes, right? That's why I try to clip some of our stuff because it's just and it takes effort and time to do that, so I don't do it too often because it just means you just get that little, and then you then you got to put the link to the main show. So I don't know, I haven't watched this, but there's about 11 minutes of it, and I'm going to play all of it, but we just get the gist of it, right?
Yeah, there's an update here. You all remember Riley, Dick Masterson's Riley versus Eric July. So we all remember how this story started. They got mad at Eric July because he's black and because comic book, but mainly because he was black. Let's be real.
The main reason was that eventually the Maddox stuff got old. And I mean, it got old pretty fast.
Yes.
But they beat that fucking horse into the ground for 4 or 5 solid fucking years past the point where it was even funny. And then they're like, we need to find the new Maddox.
Yeah.
So rather than organically allowing it to develop, they did everything in their power to force Eric July into being Maddox.
Yeah, like a lolcow or whatever.
Even though in no way was he at all similar to Maddox. And he was basically just a black libertarian guy who wanted to sell comic books. So this led to all sorts of gay ops and smear campaigns and IRL bullshit where these guys sent fucking Riley to go harass Eric July at his place of business and scream through the windows at a meetup that he's chronically unhappy. It was brutally cringe, bro.
The going to his warehouse and putting stickers on the fucking door, pissing on his ancestors' grave. Dick Masterson co-signing it.
Admitted that they pissed on the fucking grave,
Yeah.
and that it wasn't just. I mean, we all knew that they fucking pissed on the ancestors' grave or whatever, but it's just unhinged. Like it was just unhinged for no good reason. Like it's not like this guy was Ethan Ralph and had been involved in all sorts of dirty shit and was going around and doing this or that. Like the rules of engagement for someone like Eric July are not really like that. You can't just do that shit. And
Eric held like stoic during the whole thing. You know, he didn't say anything. He tried to be chill about it, but
and now it's to the point where EVS, like, I don't even bother covering this fucking irrelevant bum.
He's
seriously
so boring, bro. He's worst.
So fucking boring, but he's basically admitting like there's no more refunds because he doesn't have the money to refund people's shit. Rainbow the Brute is like 5 years late. Like this guy has at least a half dozen comic books that he hasn't fucking delivered on, sitting there crying about a guy who's delivered every comic book that he's promised. He hasn't fucked up even once. And a lot of EVS's buddies, it's the same issue. And they gave Comicsgate a bad fucking name because they didn't deliver on the products that they claimed that they were going to fucking deliver. Now EVS is in this whole controversy with the rip-off verse.
Yeah, you know when people were saying where's my books and where when are you going to deliver the books and on, but you keep obsessing over Eric July when people have told you to stop, and now you're reaping what you sow. I do not feel bad for EVS. In fact, I hope he goes to hell, straight up.
But how much millions has he stolen off people, bro?
I don't know, but when he goes to hell, I'm sure he'll meet a few of them.
Yeah. It's just that this one here is so crisp, right? It's just straight 3 minutes of telling you exactly who Eric July is and exactly who Ethan Van Scammer is, right? Ethan Van Sciver. It's like this dude and this dude. There's chalk and cheese. One dude does what he says he's going to do. He gets it into your hands. The other guy, he says what he's going to do and then blames the other guy for not getting into your hands, right? It's just like, man, 200 live streams later, and he's just still hasn't in 5 years produced that comic book.
And he had to take it down. All of his trash casts for God knows what, when there's legal threats this way and that way. And EVS is threatening to sue Yellow Flash for Yellow Flash saying that EVS took all the money to the casino and fucking lost it all.
But Tim, EVS has taken money to the casinos, to the theater, to the ball game. Yeah. And he's also told us all, like the clips I've seen, how much he's lost every time he's gone. Even where his wife is saying, "Hey, you should be winning money, right? You should be bringing home at least something." And here's the thing: in the past, when I was working at sports restaurant kind of thing, and I was in the kitchen as the chef, whatever. And doing late nights and stuff. Every time I had a break, I'd go and put in some coins in the machine because it was part of it, right? We call them pokies down here. I'm not sure what you guys call it there, but the coin machines. Yeah, coin machines. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So it got really bad for me because I would just be throwing money down there, and then I went to my manager and I said, "Can you ban me from that area?" And then so I was banned from going there. Every time I went in, even tried, then everybody knew I was banned, right? My workmates knew I was banned from there, so I shouldn't be in there. And then so what happened was that some nights I would actually go, either by myself or with my friend, and would go to other pubs, and they would have the coin machines there, and I would go play there. And then my manager had moved over there, said, "Hey, you're banned from here." It's like, I go, "Oh yeah, I know." That I don't want to see you in here again, because what was happening down there was like every place that that was like a sports related or anything. Like 90% of the businesses down there were owned by the same licensing thing, right? So
Right.
if you banned yourself from one place, you got banned from every single place.
Well,
So
I guess that's good then.
exactly, but it was hard, and I would like go to this other place during my lunch break between my work thing, because that's addiction, right? I just needed to get that. Every time I felt stressed out, I would go and play, and this is what is happening with him. And I know what happens when you're really stressed out, because if you're a gambler and you get stressed out, that's what you run to. If you're a smoker, when you're stressed out, you go and smoke a pack a day, right? And if you're alky, you'll go drink hard out into oblivion. If you are if you drink a lot and you get stressed out, and like people eat a lot when they get stressed out, if that's their thing. And that's what addiction is, right? It pushes you to where where you can be lulled by the very thing that's harming you. And Ethan Van Sciver, his whole thing is gambling, right? And so he's got to he must be itching to get rid of, every time he like me, I would in my head, I'll be like, I need to go. I would hear the coin machines in my head while I'm sleeping, bro. That's how bad it got. And then I had to wean myself off so much. And I even went to a counseling thing for gamblers. And I went in there and said, and the guy said to me, so how much do you spend, waste? About $1,000 a month. And I was like, oh, that's nothing. People are in here with house things. And I went, shit. People are come here after they've lost houses. And this is me on the way down to hell. I'll be losing, my property, my cars, my job if I carry on this way. So I stopped, bro. Right? Because we had moved to another city at that time. And so it took me about a year again to clean myself up. I think it might have been, maybe 8 months to just totally go, no, this will not control me. But EVS, bro, he's not like that. He's like, I'm going to help you gamble. I'm going to have you do things. I'm going to show you how to gamble. Dude, nobody can tell you how to gamble to win, because it's a machine that's that's been programmed to pay out at certain times. And unless you have a friggin' computer brain who's able to calculate when, and even when you walk away from that, somebody else will win it. It's happened to me twice, I think, right? I've been sitting there for hours, and then somebody just comes in, puts a coin in, five rolls spins later, and he's won. And I'm like, I just wasted $200 and I got nothing. So I looked over and went, this is not good. Have you ever gambled before, bro?
I'm not very good at it, because I don't believe in wasting money unless it actually turns into something.
Yeah,
I just can't do that.
That's the same thing like with smoking. That's why I stopped smoking. I think it's about 3-4 years now that I gave up smoking, after smoking for about maybe 20 years, 15 years of my life. And it was like money. Why am I spending this money on this when I can spend it on other things that's more important, like making my comics, right? Buying music, things that will last and not just be, puffed away. And this is the problem here with Ethan Van Sciver, right? He's an adult who doesn't really understand that he's just stolen all this money, right? In this fraud scheme with using comics, and millions have gone from people who backed him.
EVS is talking about I'm limping, bro. I'm hurting, bro. If anyone says anything, I'm gonna sue them, bro. Whenever guys start talking about lawsuits like that, it's another one of these signs of becoming a lolcow, where you're just assuredly fucking felt it. Oh, bro, you can't make fun of me, bro. It's okay, you fucking 400-pound, 57-year-old fucking geriatric. No one gives a fuck about you. No one cares about your gay fucking frog. No one cares about any of it. But this guy thinks he's like some big mafia boss online. It's pathetic. Anyway,
so
here we go.
With all that lore dropped on you in 1 second.
It wasn't 1 second. It was like 4 minutes there. So let's move on.
Yep.
And I want to bring you something funny from my neighborhood, my neck of the woods. Something I was looking forward to, but was hoping it did not include other people. Right. So this story is about a dirt biker in my city who seriously got injured in a crash. Now, this is only about 3 days ago. It's the 14th here, so I guess I don't know how many days that is in northern times, but so a dirt bike rider has been seriously injured in a crash in Whangarei, just as Northern police were warning of dangers of joyriding in city streets. Now, what was happening with this clown? He would weave in and out between cars in a two-way main highway road, like it's like the main street. So see the street here. This is like, I mean, it's a road, right? It's very busy. It's like full-on busy. It's like you got to actually wait to walk across because there's no lights. So it's a footpath here. And so he would drive in and out like his car, his dirt bike, right? In between, like almost every day, no helmet, do wheelies, speed and everything. And I'm like, and my mate and I were like, I said, bro, he's going to kill himself. And that's okay, as long as he doesn't do it involving other people. However, the latest crash occurred about 5:20 on Monday in the suburb of Romanga near the intersection of Otaga, blah, blah, blah. A car and dirt bike were involved, with the rider suffering severe injuries. I worry for the car, people, passengers in the car, right? Because I don't really care about this guy. This guy was waiting to die, right? He was such a moron that he was waiting to die. So there's problems all over Northland where you've got these morons, just doing these silly things, right? So let me see here. So there was another one, right, as well, including these dirt bikes, right? Kaikoi, where this other one happened earlier. It's a rural township. So it's a small town, but lots of farms and all that, surrounded by farms. So a little boy was hurt there, right? Because, so Armstrong especially is concerned about the trend of people taking young children joyriding on city streets without helmets or protective clothing, or bikes that often have poor brakes and bald tires, because they're rural areas that don't, and they're just showing off, right? The danger had been highlighted by severe facial injuries suffered by a 3-year-old boy in a dirt bike, right? Crash in Kaikoi. Armstrong said the 22-year-old old's father had been charged with driving, and the child. So this is not a child who's driving, like a teenager who's driving. This is a friggin' 22-year-old who took a 3-year-old for a joyride with no. Well, why would you even put a 3-year-old on your bike, man? No helmets, no nothing. But it's just low brain cell people. So the other guy is 29 years old, bro.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I went out ride on a dirt bike, but the guy was driving slow. It was on a camping trip, yeah.
Yeah,
and it was
but
just
that's
a small little
slow, right?
And my grandfather was watching the whole time, so it wasn't like high speeds or anything.
Yeah, but these guys are like on the roads, bro. They're not really worried about other people. They're just trying to show off and, oh, look, I'm really cool. Look at my dirt bike. Right. So the other thing is here, right? It's a huge safety concern for us. I've seen firsthand people who have been seriously hurt. And absolute last thing we want is somebody to lose their life as a result of this thing. So the Monday one, right? The one with the guy in my town, in my city, I should say. Right, it's a state highway, and he collided with a car. He died later in the hospital. So he was a death wish, dude. I didn't realize he died. Now I think they've just updated it. So he died later in hospital. So he was on a death wish, right? But the problem is he's put other people, he's crashed into other people in their car, and they're now having to, deal with, mental health and all stuff that comes from, causing somebody's death. But yeah, there's been a few people in our city who've been doing this around our area. It's just because it's not a really rich area. It's a poor area, so there's poor bikers, showing off with their dirt bikes and stuff. It's just so annoying, bro, seeing that, because it means that other people are getting hurt, and not only them. And it's just stupid, because I think, it just seems like the mental health is just not. It's this. I think it might have to do with this whole YouTube generation online thing. Taking videos of yourself, loading it up, and then people videoing and stuff.
Doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're also filming themselves doing stupid things when they shouldn't be doing stupid things or filming themselves. Back in the day, you could do something stupid and nobody else would know.
Yeah. Those were good old days, right? When where you could just do stupid thing and nobody had a recording of it, and walk away feeling stupid. But that was it.
If you were doing something you weren't supposed to do, maybe your parents said well, you can't go to Seattle because it's dangerous, blah blah blah, and you go to Seattle anyway. You didn't film it. You didn't leave evidence that you went against what they told you not to do.
Yeah, but now everybody's recording it, and it's just my
favorite one is the teachers that do things at work that they're they're promoting stuff they shouldn't or whatever, and then they run to TikTok to film it and brag about it, and then they wonder how they get found out, and they get fired.
Well, since I think I'll just put on a funny thing after that, because just a palate cleanser, I guess, because that was just crashes and people dying and causing other people pain is not the coolest thing. So this is before we go into the next subject, which is Epstein and Trump. We're going to look at some embarrassing moments.
Да, и плечо.
Yeah, I'm getting them. It looks great. It looks so good. Yeah, it's so good.
Nut on that magneto. We'll see what happens.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting him to get hurt or something, but not that.
Yeah. That was,
All right. So some major news keeps coming out about Epstein, right?
Oh man, what can it be this time? Something horrific, I bet.
Well, we're going to be looking at a bit more of that on a future episode where it's just covering Epstein as the main theme. But because there's some crazy shit coming out, man. It's just...
there is. There is. It's like it's a whole network of weirdos and gross people.
Yeah. So this is a clip from Asmongold. I haven't seen it. I mean, I haven't seen the original, so there's the only one I could find on it.
Apparently, this is what's so fucking insane. I did not expect this to happen. Trump was one of the first people who was a whistleblower on Jeffrey Epstein. More evidence that Trump was the original Jeffrey Epstein whistleblower is coming out in the court documents. Trump was responsible for Epstein's first conviction. So you remember whenever this came out?
When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant.
I can tell you that I talked to President Trump back in 2009, and several times after that, he helped me. He got on the phone. He told me things that were helping our investigation.
I now see why Biden didn't release the Epstein files when he had 4 years to do so. I don't think anybody was predicting this. This is the file. Knew Epstein was disgusting. Trump said Maxwell was Epstein's operative. She is evil and to focus on her. Trump told blank that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and Trump got the hell out of there. Trump was one of the very
See, that's what I've been saying all along, right? When we've been talking about Trump in relation to Epstein, because I remember that original thing where he said that. He said, like, he was at my, at my club. I saw him. He was being creepy with chicks and with young girls, and I told him to get the hell out. Tim.
So yeah, and they've been trying to like pin Trump to Epstein, but it's like no, the only thing you know is that he kicked him out of his Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
And then he also, I guess he got like a Christmas email from him, but I don't think he responded to it.
This is 2009, man. And Democrats have been like, oh, it's Trump this, but we find out like, dude, it's like there's so much coming out about how many, how he was helping out and how many people were involved in like the bad things evil things that Epstein was doing around the world. And if it wasn't for Trump, like going and whistleblowing on Epstein, the dudes would still be probably doing it.
Yep.
First people to call when people found out they were investigating Epstein. No one could explain how Epstein...
Hold on. Let's go back there.
Evil and to focus on her. Trump told blank that he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and Trump got the hell out of there. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out they were investigating Epstein. No one could explain how Epstein made his money. Prince Andrew was a fixture in Palm Beach. So Jeffrey Epstein thought that Trump ratted him out. Epstein came to believe that it was Trump who had first caused him to be investigated by the law enforcement in 2005. This is also one from 2016.
Oh, wow. Way back in 2005? Wait, let's see that again. Yeah.
They were investigating Epstein. No one could explain how Epstein made his money. Prince Andrew was a fixture in Palm Beach. So Jeffrey Epstein thought that Trump ratted him out. Epstein came to believe that it was Trump who had first caused him to be investigated by the law enforcement in 2005. This is also one.
That's crazy, bro.
Huh. No wonder all of a sudden things have gotten kind of quiet about Trump.
So Trump's basically been helping while they've been trying to get a case against Epstein. It took them 4 years because Epstein already knew they were onto him. But it took, because here's the thing, man. It's just like with Bill, right? He's got so much money. He's got FU money, right? That he could basically buy and sell people, which they have, right? They do that all over Africa because they were trying to use, like, Bill Gates was trying to use tested vaccines in South Africa, North Africa, South Africa being its own little thing, Central Africa and all those other areas to use as test as vaccines on. That's why I've always said for the last, I think maybe 7-8 years that Bill Gates is just a creep. That when you have too much money, you think it makes you feel Machiavellian, right? The ends justify the means. Is that the right word, Tim? Machiavellian?
I think so. We know he liked the Russian girls, and that's how he got AIDS.
STDs. I don't think he got AIDS.
Well, STDs, whatever. He got.
Yeah.
He caught something from Russian girls.
Man.
from 2016?
Bill Clinton.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
He has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming. Yes.
Unbecoming. He was a sex offender.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm being polite, in the sense that he was a sex offender.
But you were staying at the house of
Yes.
a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Right.
That I threw him out of a club. I didn't want anything to do with him. That was many, many years ago. Now, other people, they went all over with him. They went to his island. Find out the people that went to the island.
Yeah, why is he in the clear? He's not in the clear, but what it was showing is that before any public scrutiny occurred, Donald Trump expressed concern about Epstein directly to the authorities. It seemed pretty obvious to me that Donald Trump and Epstein were pretty close at one point. It's very hard, really, for me to say that, like this guy's totally innocent. But at the same time, whenever you're the guy that's ratting this person out before anything ever happens publicly, then I do think that looks very good on you privately. I think it absolutely does.
Right. That was a short clip.
I don't know how they could try to say he was connected. Except for ratting on him like years before anybody else was.
Well, the other thing would be that maybe because Epstein knew all these people, this rich people, right? Investors, corporates who are like, billionaires and millionaires, they move around in the same circles. Just because you're having a little conversation that's been caught on video doesn't mean that that's what you're talking about, right? The island and the girls. You're basically in the public. You're not going to be mentioning the islands and the girls with people around you. So it's easy for them to go, oh yeah, he's been, he's on video, but it's like, well, what were they talking about? Business, investments, what? But the other thing is that they found out that he actually owns 2 islands, right? Not just the one. And man, it's just, so I want to bit of a segue again away from that sort of stuff. U.S. commando storms secret Russian ship. Crazy footage.
What have the
Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great.
Sorry, bud.
What have the Russians done this time?
Well, basically taking South American oil that they're not supposed to, right? Same with China. Basically filling up their cargoes because they're not supposed to take oil out of Venezuela, because that's oil that's earmarked for US, because US companies own the whole manufacturing and all that, the mines, whatever they do there, right? I'm not so proficient on oil things, but yeah. So this video comes from, let me just find the name, from David Hookstead. Hookstead sounds like Hookstead. Well, reads like Hookstead. So I guess he covers a lot of military stuff. So let's have a look at this. It looks cool, man. It was just so cool how they did it. That's why I wanted to show this. Because the other thing was that the U.S. Military also took out, commanders also took out a cartel this week as well.
Great, wherever you're watching from today. I'm filming this on February 9th, and we have major news and video footage after U.S. commandos stormed another secret Russian ship, seizing it and continuing to send the message to the world: we are not going to tolerate anyone violating the standards that the United States of America has set. That means Russia, that means Iran, that means China. When we say you're not moving your ships and you're not moving your oil anywhere, we mean it. And now another Russian ship has been captured by the United States of America, and the film footage is nothing short of absolutely incredible. So we're going to break down exactly what we know, what the ship details are, and much more. Before we get started, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free, cost you nothing, huge boost to the channel. Comment with your thoughts below. What do you think about us storming Russian ships, seizing secret tankers? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the bell, all notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then Instagram, David _ let's get into it. President Donald Trump made it crystal clear, along with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, there would be no sanctioned secret ships allowed on the ocean. If we find them, we're taking them down. We're not letting these countries, our enemies, do whatever they want. It will not be tolerated. It will be stopped. And one of the big things you got to stop is the oil tankers, especially with Iran and Russia. Why? The shadow fleet gets around sanctions. They use that money to then fund the war against Ukraine if you're Russia, or try to build up military assets if you're Iran. Well,
and this is what a lot of people don't understand about the selling and buying of oil, right? Especially crude oil, is that those money gets spent on weapons, because a lot of people are just going to be selling to, say China, and then China gives that money back to Iran. Iran goes out there, sends military, money to buy military weapons for Houthis, right? Who are shooting, who are basically attacking ships, cargo ships, carrying goods around the world, right? And also, then you've got them also carrying out war against the African people in South and Central Africa, North and Central Africa, against the Arabs, carrying them out against the Black Africans, because they hate them, right? Because Black Africans are basically either enemies or Christians, but they want them to be Muslims. So, they got to kill them if they don't become Muslims.
Let me throw this up on the screen for you. This was shared this morning, February 9th, Monday, February 9th. The Department of War posted on Twitter, when the Department of War says quarantine, we mean it. Nothing will stop the Department of War from defending our homeland, even in oceans halfway around the world. Overnight, U.S. military forces conducted a right of visit, maritime interdiction, and boarding on the Aquila 2. Is it the Aquila 2 or the Aquila II? I honestly don't know. Without incident in the Indo-PACOM area of responsibility. The Aquila 2 is operating in defiance of President Trump's established quarantine of sanctioned vessels in the Caribbean. It ran and we followed. The Department of War tracked and hunted this vessel from the Caribbean to the Indian Ocean. No other nation on the planet has the capability to enforce its will through any domain by land, air, or sea. Our army,
man, when you see the map of how far they went, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Forces will find you and deliver justice. You will run out of fuel long before you outrun us. The Department of War will deny illicit actors and their proxies the ability to defy American power in the global maritime domain. So this was a secret Russian ship operating, I believe, out of a Panamanian.
As a New Zealander from the bottom of the world, I'm going to have to say, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that we need a strong America. We need a powerful America. We need America to lead us, because when we had a weak America, all these people played around, right? And did whatever they wanted under Biden.
Well, if America would actually have a better education system, a better economy, which it looks like it's starting to shape up to be one, and a stronger military, then we would have that. Instead of these stupid, non-important, side issues that aren't even worth dealing with.
Well, the reason America doesn't have a good high education system where people, where the youth and, the young people, young adults are educated properly, is because a lot of leftists have been allowed to get into leadership and chase after money instead of chase after giving good education. So they've let a lot of other fellow leftists in to just teach leftist ideology instead of teach maths, English, literature, science, biology, all the stuff they need to learn, rather than teaching them freaking ideology based, and political things. Just teach them what they need to survive. That's why you see a lot of videos of people, clips of people who just don't know what the hell 1+1 is, right? Or where countries are. And so they don't know, so they don't understand, and therefore they don't know what history and how people got where they are. And so they think, oh, America bad all the time. No, there were governments that were in power in America that were bad, like Biden, right? And Carter with Iran, and so on. So you've got things that has happened over the last 40, 50 years because bad people were elected to office, and they were there to just, fill their pockets, as we saw with Obama, as we saw with Biden, right? Especially with Ukraine. But America needs better education for its youth. Otherwise, it's going to fall so far behind against everybody else, and that's sad.
Flag, so the flag of Panama, but we know this is a Russian ship, and quite frankly, this continues to be badass. Now, let's go ahead and watch the awesome film footage. So let me go ahead and go full screen here. Make sure everything's rolling. All right. You can see the commandos. You see the rifles. You see the helicopter. Let's roll. Here it is. So you got a sniper here on the screen. This is the secret oil tanker, the secret Russian ship. Sniper is at the ready to engage any possible hostile target. Gun up. Scope going. And then right here, you see the helicopter right there. They are offloading all the commandos. And they come down the rope. They're fanning out, guns up. These are the workers on the ship. They don't want to firefight, so they're coming out. The commandos are ordering them around, and helicopters dropped its last people off. Rope is up and getting ready to roll out. What's interesting about this is, generally speaking, they have announced that it's the Coast Guard that is taking these ships. This time, they just said it was strictly the Department of War, didn't make any mention of the Coast Guard. And that makes me wonder, is it possible that SEAL Team 6 was the unit chosen for this one? Let's go back to the sniper part, just because that's really cool. So right here, you got a suppress. Looks like an SR-25. He's got it. I'm going to put this on the screen.
So this is what I wanted to, I was saying earlier, Tim, about like how far they went to catch that this one Aquila 2 oil ship.
So it is turned off its transponder for the last 99 days. So it was in Belarus, then it went completely dark. Let's see if we can go live here on the map. So this was its last known location right here by Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. Belarus is right there. That was the last known location of the tanker, and that was, again, 99 days ago. So it has been on the run for 99 days. Obviously, we're now taking the tankers. We got some more cool footage showing up here. So for those of you who haven't seen this before, this is the capture of the Veronica in the Caribbean. This was back on January 15th. Let's go ahead and watch this footage. You can see the command. This was the Coast Guard. So we know this was the Coast Guard commandos coming in. Here we go. The rope slide is just so cool. Guns up. They're ready to rock and roll. Night vision. More commandos coming on the deck. They are just getting after it. You can see the helicopter floating right there in the air. Oh, it is awesome. And then this is my favorite one. This is the, what's the name of it? The Olena. So they took this on January 9th. They actually were throwing flashbangs around.
That's 3 ships of millions and millions of dollars of oil that would go towards being sold and buying weapons by either Russia or Iran.
Oh, so they're selling them
And
to
this one's watch it.
Rogue Nation.
Right here.
Yeah, well, basically these are Russian ships, right? And they're taking oil from South America and shipping it back to Russia and Iran, or coming from Iran to Russia and so on. So basically they go dark, right? And that they can just go wherever they want, which means nobody knows where they are and who they are. But this is just showing how powerful, American might is when you look at what everybody else is putting out. And this war in Russia and Ukraine has been going for what, about 4 years now? Was it 2023? Man, it's just never ending war with like people, both sides just dying hard out because of Biden just being in power. This is what I mean about how America under a weak leadership ruins the world. And now under strong leadership with Trump and his administration, we're seeing, things actually being done that needed to be fixed. He's fixing, right?
Well, he's fixing what he can. He's
Yeah.
trying. I'll give him that. His performance as a president has been very satisfactory.
That's true. Yeah. And I'm hoping that that continues, man, because I think America is on the right track again. And I've been wanting Trump to get back in for the last 4 years. He was out, right? Because Biden was pushed in. And because I knew that we needed someone strong, because you need strong leadership. That's one thing you got to have, is strong leadership. Doesn't matter what it is, what area you're in. If you're a comic book publisher, your leader has to be strong, has to have no direction, has to know when to say yes, when to say no. And also in business, right? Any business that waffles about where they stand is actually going to cause themselves damage. Like we talked about AEW, right? They let the friggin' they let one of their workers, their wrestlers, go out there and sell anti-ice T-shirts, right? And raise funds to pay for anti-ice organizations, basically, right? He says he's going to help, people working migrants. Yeah, legal migrants, not illegal, But this is pretty cool. Check this out.
Boom. Explosion out.
Flashback.
Right there. Awesome. Let's watch it again. So you're going to watch a guy turn, toss a flashbang or some kind of grenade, and then you see the explosion. You can see the burn marks.
That's the captain's quarters, right? So that's where the engineers, not the engineers, the people who are running the ship are.
Are they sure they blinded the captain?
Well, those flashbangs are pretty friggin' blind. Blind. Pretty bright, right?
Right there on the deck of the ship. All right, I'm going to pull this off the screen now. Yet again.
So that was that. I don't have the cartel one because I thought that would be cool. I'll try to find it for the next one. So let me get the next story. We're halfway through our stream and we will go to, just before we move on, I just want to push this out. I was going to put this out last stream, but I forgot. And because I'm trying to keep to the 2-hour mark, right? So check this out. This is the lab.
Amazing.
Okay,
sorry.
so this is, I can't even remember her name now, but you will know. So this is from Liberal Hive Mind. Whoops.
Oh, this guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So he does short vids. So someone caught her, and I can't remember her name, man. But she's the one that was working in a bar, and then they picked her up and put her into
AOC?
That's the one. AOC.
That dumb bitch.
Yeah. So here we go.
Intro laid it out quite clearly. Now take a look.
If you want to be kind of a more active observer and member of your community, there's legal observer training, which is if you see that ICE that is active in your community, knowing the things that you can do legally to observe, to film, to take note, without being deemed as impeding law enforcement, and how you can do these things and assert the rights of yourself and your neighbors. Part of what I wanted to communicate to you all here today is what we need to do as a community and the fabric that we can help build as a community so that we can take care and keep each other safe in this environment and keep our neighbors safe in this environment. We've already had a couple of instances where things took a rapid response. Community organizers, advocates, local elected officials, that we've been able to keep families together. First, I'm just going to talk about some of the things legally that we are remaining vigilant on. There's a safety plan and find your legal help before anything happens. Once ICE detains a person, they do not have the ability to get counsel once they are detained. But if you have counsel before you're detained, your lawyer has to be able to speak it. And there are many organizations.
So this clown is telling illegals how to, right? How to
buck the system.
Yeah, how to be criminals further and how to buck the system. This is your own government, opposition government in place telling the criminals how to get away with being criminals. Even directed them to how to get training from your how to get trained to know your rights to illegals, bro. Not legals, illegals. This is why America's in a mess. Because their own government politicians, right? Their own politicians are against American people. This is the dumbest person. Well, one of them. There's a few dumb people in the world, like Hassan Piker. But this one, she's one of the major dumbest people in the world. That's all I can stomach from her. But the link's in the chat. Go grab it if you want to watch it later. Now, this week has been a harrowing week, right? It's been bad. So let's start with Canada. If it will get to me as quick as I can, get rid of that. Find this and one spot. There we go.
We're continuing to follow that breaking news out of northeastern British Columbia. Police responding to an active shooter at a secondary school in Tumbler Ridge. And Sarah is watching this for us.
Yeah, the active shooter alert. This would have come about 3 hours ago now for Tumbler Ridge. It covers actually quite a large area. Tumbler Ridge, a small community. In addition to that, Chetwynd, Dawson Creek also included in this. RCMP saying that all of these areas, particularly Tumbler Ridge, is in a shelter in place. Do not leave your homes and do not go to the school unless directed to do so. There are 2 schools in Tumbler Ridge. There is the secondary school as well as the elementary school. And according to the school district website, there is a lockdown and a hold and secure in place for the 2 schools. What we know from the latest RCMP press release, they are saying that the original suspect is believed to have been found dead. They are right now working to confirm whether or not there is a second suspect in this. And according to the initial active shooter alert, that active shooter was described in that alert as being a woman, brown hair, wearing a dress. They are also working to determine whether there are injuries, whether there are victims in this. We have confirmed.
So that was the initial thing. There was a woman out there shooting up people, right? So what ended up finding out was that it was a dude, a trans dude, who basically shot up his, I think his, let me see, what was it? He shot up his home, killing his mother and brother and father, I think. Let me just get to the right vid here, so we get a good background on this. It's a bit further down on the list. Here we go. So we've got this dude here coming out, and the way they reported around the world was crazy, bro. Gun person, right? They were calling him a gun person. When it was found out that he was a dude dressed up as a chick, they started calling him a gun person. So this is the other video clip.
If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this time.
Officer Renina Daya from Global News. Could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Were there any red flags regarding his...
Tim?
Yeah, I've seen this. This guy, he's just being kind of easy about it and not saying what people would normally say about this person.
Yeah,
it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
Mental health.
So a suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendance at the family residence. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
Boy. So we got to talk about a story that liberal media outlets.
Oh yeah, so it was including mum and stepbrother. I thought there was a father in there, but no, there isn't. So it's like
CNN and BS Now are probably going to avoid, right? They're probably going to avoid talking about this. They may talk about it a little bit, but they'll spend most of their time boohoo, whining, crying about Trump, talking about Epstein, talking about a whole bunch of stuff that, in my opinion, is not as important as a story like this, okay? A story that does not fit multiple liberal media narratives that they want us to believe. A story involving a transgender Canadian school shooter who slaughtered 8, including mom and stepbrother, seen holding rifle in eerie photo. Yeah, so this story involves an individual, an 18-year-old by the name of Jesse Van Rootselaar. I'm not sure if I pronounced this person's name correctly, but Jesse here had dropped out of the high school about 4 years ago, earlier, before committing this mass shooting. Jesse is a biological male, but has been living as a transgender woman. Now, Jesse has a history of mental health issues, but somehow, some way, in a country like Canada that has very, very, very strict gun laws, got access to a firearm and then committed a mass shooting. So we're already seeing multiple liberal media narratives broken here, right? Already, if you haven't picked up on it. One, again, we have a transgender individual. We're not supposed to say that. We're not supposed to acknowledge that. Apparently, that is hate and bigotry to say that. Now, again, if this individual was just a straight white Christian male, the liberal media would make it mandatory to acknowledge that it was a straight white Christian male. And if it was a Trump supporter, they would definitely tell you that it was a Trump supporter, right? But because, again, this person is transgender, we're not supposed to say that, right? We're not supposed to acknowledge that. But what you have here, again, is a mass shooting happening in Canada by a transgender individual, a narrative breaker, right? So without further ado, let's learn a little bit more about what happened here from the mainstream liberal media. And then we're going to get into law enforcement, because the law enforcement authorities who are handling this case, they're embarrassing themselves, right? They're humiliating themselves, trying to adhere to woke ideology while covering this situation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
A mass shooting in British Columbia, Canada, has left a small town in complete shock. Police say the shooter killed at least 9 people at a school and in a home about 400 miles west of Edmonton. More than 24 others were hurt. The alleged shooter was also found dead. Let's go to CBS News correspondent Chanel Call. Chanel, what do we know about the suspect?
Yeah, there's so much to break down here, Liz. As you know, I'm Canadian. You mentioned Edmonton. I actually lived there for 3 years, and that is in a province called Alberta, which is the bordering state to British Columbia, where, of course, this mass shooting happened yesterday. So today we heard from authorities. They said that they got the call at Timber Ridge Secondary School at about 1:20 in the afternoon. They said that right after they got that call, they activated and they were able to get there on the scene in about 2 minutes. So, Liz, they say when they got there was active gunfire. Those officers, Liz, they went inside, and then within minutes, they say they found the shooter dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. They also say that 1 teacher and 5 students between the ages of 12 and 13 years old were also found to be shot dead in that shooting. And they also say that before the suspect actually got to the school, Liz, they believe that the suspect killed their mother and brother at the family's home. Listen.
Wow.
So a suspect is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have
Even in death, they try to protect the dude, right? Even
I
after
don't
murdering.
understand why he murdered a bunch of people.
Yeah. It's like, dude, he murdered 9 people, including children, his own mother and stepbrother. And you want to protect him by sticking to his pronouns? You friggin' loser. Canada is, if I remember right, Canada is where it all started, bro. The trans ideology movement and how to speech control, right? And even after death, they want to control speech. That just pissed me off, man. Like, hold on. Let's think here's something else, right? That this is from Sky News, my favorite channel out of Aussie. So I did not know this, but I have noticed this, right? So 2 out of 5 shooters in the past year, right? And I think she's talking about like Canada. I'm not sure, but because I was going to play this video in a future stream, but just because he brought this up, I'm going to play this here. Let's get to the very start.
The latest mass shooting attributed to a trans or non-binary killer, or as the Canadian authorities call him, the gun person. God forbid they should misgender a mass killer.
That includes the deceased gun person.
Okay. And then separately, do you know the gun person's relationship to...
Army, what more do we know about this gunman, Jesse Van Rutselaar, and this horrific crime?
Yeah, you stole one of my notes. I mean, how Orwellian, gun person. That is chilling and crazy. Yes, we know this was a trans person. First of all, look, as we now have to say, we talk about gun laws and what their effects are ultimately on shootings. Canada has one of the strictest gun laws, certainly in the world, and yet this is a mass shooting that we've had.
Isn't it interesting that the most controlled place when it comes to gun laws is the place that they have mass shootings?
Look, if the gunman wasn't a straight white male, it's the job of the authorities to hide their identity. That's the way it works, right? It's a straight white male. We'll identify him all the live long day. But if it's not, so if it's a trans person, we're gonna do whatever we can to obscure what the identity is, right? And look, I had, like I always do, I do show prep, and I did my research with AI, and we always have that fun AI stories. And I asked, well, what % of school shootings we've had in the last 5 years have been from trans people, and it refused to give me a number. It kept saying it's a
Yeah. ChatGPT will do that. So I want to, while I continue playing the video, I am going to go ask the same thing to Grok.
very,
Let's see.
very low number. I swear it would not. I had to list every single one of the last 5 years mass school shootings and individually go through them. And what's the answer? There's been 5 in the last 5 years, and 2 of the 5, 40% have been people who are trans or non-binary. Yet
since we last talked about this, I went and checked that out for myself. I asked the not just ChatGPT but Grok, and asked precisely what you were talking about, to list the number of mass shootings in the recent years that have involved a trans shooter or a non-binary shooter, and it just refuses to do it. When you then give it a number of events, it will acknowledge it and repeat those to you, but it will not compile a list, which is extraordinary, because I could ask it to compile any other sort.
Oh dear. I wasn't expecting this, but I got it. I got this result. Look at this. So my question was, how many mass school shootings in the past 5 years has been committed by trans or non-binary persons? It first said none, right? It said none. But now, right, I should have clipped that, but now it's saying now it's trying to say, yes, it is. So it's changing itself. The first response was no, no school shootings mass shootings were by trans people. Now it's saying, here we go. This is live, people. It's changing again. It keeps changing. So the number of mass shootings, hopefully, it'll finish itself. The number of mass school shootings committed by trans and non-binary persons in the past 5 years, 2021 to 25, is very low, with only 4 to 5 confirmed cases in the US, right? Depending on definition of mass shooting in school. This represents less than 0.1% of all mass shootings but I asked for school. See, I asked for school. So even here, you can see that leftists have started coding. This is why I don't 100% trust AI or any sort of AI, because at the end of the day, there are leftists who are working on these codes, and they are going to put in their own ideological bannings, so that blocks, so that you can't get the information you want when it comes to ethnicity, when it comes to ideology, when it comes to trans folk, right? But here, so you got 5 anyway. Was it 4? Yeah. It says it's only 0.1%. Even that is huge. Like, look, killed 1, injured 7, right? Killed 6, injured 1. Minneapolis, right? Injured multiple, doesn't say how many here, right? Killed 2, injured 1. Tumbler Ridge. But that's wrong, because this was actually just, wait, isn't this week? That's supposed to be like, that's supposed to be 10 and injured 26. See, when it comes to dude, like, when it comes to trans stuff, it just spits out lies and misinformation. Because in the Minnesota case, there was like, there's a fact check, right? All this shit. So, no, there's not an epidemic, USA Today writes, right? But yeah, 3 out of 5 in the last 5 years of mass school shootings have been trans people. Was it 3 or 2? Sorry, my bad. 2, I think it was. 2 out of 5. That's still too many.
Right.
But it's interesting how they've actually put in anything to do with like I noticed if it had anything to do with China, it's like a no-no. They won't give you the correct information. Now they won't give you the correct information about ethnicities. I found that out about like illegal, migrant crimes, right? They won't tell you that. They won't tell the race of the people. And then they also, so you can't do your research, right? If you're looking to follow up on these things. But 2 out of 5 trans shootings, and even like this week, that's like 10 people he killed, including himself, right? 9 others. And 3 of them, I think, I think there was like about 6 of them or something was like children. Like a couple of them were like 13-year-olds or 14-year-olds.
And it will normally do it. But there is just this determination not to acknowledge that perhaps there is a problem here. Now, let's move along to the House of Representatives today, passing a massive election integrity bill, 208.
Okay, so that's that from that. But yeah, it just, man, AI, they've like, it's frustrating when you try and do research for to get the right numbers for certain things so we can cover on the topics, and then AI is made, is already programmed not to tell you that. So now we're going to move. Sorry, carry on.
It's just crazy. It's just I don't understand it either.
It's very frustrating, but also it's like they're trying to control information, right? Oh, they said, AI is going to provide any information you want right away, and it'll help you with research, but then it blocks certain topics, right?
Right.
So before we move into the next sad bad news, let's get some some fun back into the stream.
We're running. This video brought you joy. Drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Stop it. Guys, stop it. Is it the best Caesar salad wrap I've ever had in my life? Stop. Hey! This is so bad. Go down. Go down.
Caesar?
Those cats remind me of like leftist road protesters who jump in the middle of the road to stop people from going to work, right? You're trying to do your, get to work or, whatever, do your business, go about your day, and they out there like protesting in the middle of the road and standing in the middle of the road.
You mean people who deserve to get ran over?
Well,
I'm just saying, if you're willing to jump in front of the traffic, you deserve to get ran over.
Yeah, idiots, right?
Bye.
All right. Okay. Let me get this next one set up. If I got it. No, I haven't. All right. Here we go.
And hello, everybody. Welcome back to British Stand. Today, we've got a serious one to discuss. As you can see, a Islamist teenager went on a stabbing rampage in a school. Now, you may have heard the sort of breaking news that came out late yesterday that there had been a stabbing attack at a school and that 2 young boys had been injured in the attack. However, as the day went on and as we got through the night, more details emerged of this stabbing rampage, and it was, of course, by a student himself, but did tell Allah Akbar. And the latest update this morning, of course, is that a terror probe.
This is why I hate anybody playing or like saying or whatever Allahu Akbar, because it's like glory to God, right? That's basically what they're saying, and it's like glory
You
to
talk
Allah.
about like Lord Raptor Jesus.
Yeah, I always like mute that song. I like the music though. The music's cool.
I think they're doing it in a mocking kind of sense, so it's not.
Yeah, I understand that as well, but I just hate it. I hate the 2 words together. Allah biscuit, all right? Allah chocolate biscuit.
So I think it says hello, Matt Barr. Hello,
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, but the thing is that these guys actually say that when they kill people. In this case, kill children.
Is heading up this investigation. Sadiq Khan, of course, has responded to the incident. And as always, guys, we are going to provide you with the latest with regard to this. But first, please do hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for more. So, guys, as you can see, a school stabbing terror probe. Witnesses claim the attacker shouted Allah Akbar during a stabbing rampage at a London school that left boys 12 and 13 seriously injured. A teen suspect is in custody amid counter-terrorism police probe. Yes, a boy of 13 launched a stabbing rampage in a school on Tuesday, leaving 2 children fighting for their lives in a suspected terror attack. In the middle of a classroom just before lunch, a teenager pulled out a knife and stabbed a 13-year-old boy in the neck and back while shouting Allah Akbar. Seconds later, a second boy aged 12 was knifed in front of screaming children at Kingsbury High School in Brent, northwest London. Armed police raced to the school, but the knifeman had fled. A suspect who has not been named was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder after being found hiding nearby around an hour later. Sources said that he was not a pupil at Kingsbury High, raising questions about.
So 2 Muslim kids, well, on 2 different incidents, stabbing children. Right? So you've got one in one school.
Right.
And when you got one in the other school. But this second one isn't even part of the school.
How he managed to get into the school building with a concealed weapon. On Tuesday, the 2 wounded boys were in a life-threatening condition in hospital. Scotland Yard said counter-terrorism police were leading the investigation amid suspicions it was an ideologically motivated attack.
Yeah, well, when someone's screaming out Allah,
right,
it's a terrorist act and it's a religious-based killing, right? Attack, because he wasn't. Yeah, he was there to murder the kids, right? And so was the other one.
I know. Let's get Larry Higgins on here and ask him what he thinks.
Yeah.
Kidding. Oops.
Yeah, moving on.
Yet to formalize and declare that the stabbings were a terrorist attack, as officers were still carrying out searches related to the suspect on Tuesday night. Now, many of the youngsters who witnessed the stabbing spree were held in the school hall for several.
Here's the thing about that as well. Imagine seeing that as a kid while you're sitting there. Another kid your age is stabbing your fellow students, who might even be your friend.
Yeah, right? It never happened back in my day.
And calling out Allahu Akbar. That's going to make you hate and despise Islam, like it should anyway, because there's too much of it happening every week, almost, if not daily, around the world.
Hours while police carried out their inquiries. So here's some images, of course, from the school. But my goodness me, one of the father of one of the pupils said the attacker came into the school and my son saw him stab a child in the neck.
that little boy's going to be traumatized for life. My couple of years back, 2014. Oh wow, it's almost a decade. What was it? Oh shit, it's 12 years ago now. One of my uncles, well, extended family members, right, was stabbed in the neck by a 7-year-old in his own place of business. Yeah, he bled out in his wife's arms because he got the carotid artery, the main one that supplies blood.
That's
Yeah,
messed
so
up.
he bled out within seconds. So there was 2 of them, and one of them pulled out because they were there to steal, right? So
Right.
he caught them, but he didn't expect the kid to pull out a friggin' pocket knife and stab him in the neck. So yeah, I understand this fully when someone gets stabbed in the neck. But yeah, so he passed away like right there and then.
The people said the attacker came into the school and my son saw him stab a child in the neck. 2 boys were on the floor and the other child thought they were just playing, but they didn't get up. It's awful. A woman said her sister was in the classroom next door when the attack started. She said they heard screaming and crying. Our parents are traveling and they saw it on the news and were so worried. My brother was really scared to go back to school. How can you go after a stabbing? Now, of course, this has raised a lot of concerns. It's something that we do talk about quite a lot here on this channel, knife crime, and, of course, the subject of Islam. Yes.
So there's major gun control in UK, and so instead of shootings you get in the UK, you get knife crimes, right? Stabbings, mass stabbings all day long, all the time. And so, you know, basically London is known as the stabbing capital of the world because of that.
Islam terrorism makes up 80% of terrorism offenses within inside the quite a lot here on this channel, knife crime, and of course the subject of Islam. Yes, Islam terrorism makes up 80% of terrorism offenses within inside the United Kingdom, and of course the ages are getting younger and younger.
But isn't it interesting they say that right wing is the bad thing, right? But hey, it's like that's all the crime and everything. Right wing, you got to fear the far left, you know, because they're the bad people. But like 80% of terrorist crime is Islam, not Chinese, not Asian, not Indian, right? Not African. But most of those people who are, you know, committing these crimes are Muslims anyway, from Africa, right, or Middle East and India. So, but it's Islam, right? That ideology.
Something that is constantly ignored by the powers that be, whether that be the Labour Party and, of course, yours truly, Sadiq Khan. Now, Sadiq Khan has responded and addressed the London school stabbing after the counter-terrorism launched an investigation. Sadiq issued an urgent appeal in the wake of it, and in a statement, he said, "My thoughts are with the family, friends, and wider community in Brent following the appalling stabbing today. The awful violence has absolutely no place in our city. A suspect has been arrested, and I am close contact with the Met as they investigate this terrible incident. The Met have deployed significant resources into the area, and I urge anyone with information to call police on 101 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. There is no..."
So you note here, 2 boys aged 12 and 13 were stabbed. And then another boy aged 12 was stabbed, right? And they're life-threatening, which means they're going surgery constantly, trying to, trying to save their lives. But, we've done this, we've put up, like, you ain't done shit. This has been happening for decades. And it's getting worse and worse to where now it's 80%.
What happened to these Muslim boys that were stabbing people?
Well, we'll find out.
Honor in staying silent. So again, this is the stage where we are at this moment in time. Is that one teenager shouting Allah Akbar as he started stabbing students? Obviously, the boy didn't go to the school. And again, 2 boys are currently fighting for their life in a hospital. Now, this has been happening for a very long time. Now, Sadiq Khan will, of course, gaslight you and make it out to you that it isn't the case, that London is a super safe place. But knife crime is, of course, rampant within the capital and certainly is going up in a linear fashion since he was appointed as the London mayor, but constantly ignores it. Now, Islam is something else. It's another subject that, of course, is a radioactive subject and talking point inside the United Kingdom.
So, Tim, your answer to your question: a teenager has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder, right?
Right.
Yeah, suspicion when you've actually stabbed someone. How you get suspicion of attempted murder?
See, if they allowed guns in their country, that person would be dead already.
Yeah,
Percent.
but you know, knife crime. You know, instead of guns, they have knife crime, and 80% and growing.
Why don't they just stab him back? Then
well,
you know,
the fact is that they shouldn't have a knife at school anyway.
Right.
Right.
But they did, and they just let it happen.
Kingdom. People don't want to talk about this subject because they fear of being racist or Islamophobia. But these conversations need to be had. It was literally just a month ago where I reported to you that the UAE, whilst it's about universities, had stopped funding their students to study in Britain due to fears of their students being radicalized on university campuses in the United Kingdom. So everybody...
Yeah, that was a huge news about like last month or so, where the United Arab Emirates, right, didn't want to send their students from their country to learn in England, right, to go to their esteemed universities because they'll get radicalized and they'll bring that radicalized Islam back to the United Arab Emirates and actually cause domestic terror there. That is crazy, bro, when a country realizes that your country is growing radical Islamists, right, is radicalizing people to become anti-West and anti-life by teaching them to hate life and pro-Islam. Entire country, bro, a Middle Eastern Muslim country is saying that London, England, right, is Islamic to a point where they're radicalizing people to kill people.
Wow.
This is what's happening. An entire country, bro. That's got to say something when a Muslim country tells you that your country is worse, right?
Right. Else, of course, takes this matter very, very seriously, except from the powers that be within inside the United Kingdom and the police and everything around it within our country, because they don't want to be deemed and seen as Islamophobic. And of course, with the Labour government, they don't want to take drastic action because, of course, it will split their vote and they will lose the only voters that they have left. Now,
so Labour is basically Democrats. We have Labour Party here. We have Labour Party in the Aussie, and that's what we have them, right? And the colonies, it's basically Labour is the party of the Democrats, the leftist ideological party. And, so they, with their thing, oh, wait, I didn't notice this. Look at this. It says this dude here, one of Britain's most dangerous terrorists jailed for bomb plot set to be released in just weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah, so
Why?
let's let him out. Yeah,
they should just hang him.
Yeah. So, just one more little quick one on this one, and then we'll be out of here. So where are we? Yeah. So this is from another channel. This is from a couple of days ago again. This is Baraka Armuri, a British gentleman, speaking on the same subject.
And every time you try to resist the push, you control your mind for so long to the point where you let them decide what your kids should learn, what gender they will be. And now you've let them to come for the whole nation, destroying what Britain once stood up for. They use this media machine not to report the facts to you, but to tell you what to think and what you should do. Always be careful. They're hiding the facts behind the noise, and they're recruiting pedophiles to tell you how to behave. And these politicians who meant to protect you, they're out there smashing your head on the ground. And no jail time for them. This road we've been on has been very dark for a very long time. We the people make the nation, and if we don't stand up and advocate for justice, then we certainly won't make this nation great again. So we have to create a place for that, a place that can contribute to a more informed society. And that place is Next Frontier Media.
Armed and local officers were on scene within 13 minutes of the 999 call. On arrival, we were made aware that a 12-year-old boy had also been stabbed, and the boys had been taken to hospital. We await an update on how they are, though we understand their conditions to be serious. The thoughts of everyone at the Met are with them and their loved ones, and we want to thank the doctors and nurses who are providing the boys with urgent care. The suspect, who we believe to be 13, left the scene following the stabbing. After urgent inquiries,
ladies and gentlemen,
arrested him
patriots,
and also recovered a weapon.
truth seekers, digital warriors, welcome back to the show. This is Britain today. Young kids are carrying knives in school. They are stabbing each other up. This is a problem that needs to be fixed. I've been talking about this for a very long time. It looks like nobody wants to do anything about it. Everyone is always ready to say, oh, apologies. But witnesses claim the attacker shouted Allahu Akbar during the stabbing at school that left boys injured, 2 young boys. This is insane, folks. And it looks like we're just getting started. We always think like, oh yeah, it happened one time, so it's not gonna, it's not gonna happen again. It's just one little incident, I guess. Just a boy. He was, mental health. Nobody cared about him. That's why he went out there and stabbed over people. But this is what's taking place, and this has been going on for a very long time now. So let me just set this stage, right? Oh God, this is crazy, folks. This is insane. So let me just bring out the article here. Daily Mail did a piece. I think everybody has touched on it. Everyone has touched on it, but let's just read the one that we can find. Witnesses claim the attacker shouted Allahu Akbar during the stabbing at the school left boys injured. A boy, 13-year-old, launched a stabbing rampage in school on Tuesday, literally a couple hours ago, leaving 2 children fighting for their lives. In a suspect terror attack. In the middle of the class, just hours before lunch, teenager pulled out a knife and stabbed a 13-year-old boy in the neck and at the back, in his back, shouting Allahu Akbar, witness said. Second later, a second boy, aged 12, was knifed in front of screaming children at this Kingsbury High School in Brent, Northwest London. This is insane, folks. This is becoming a new normal. It's becoming a new normal now where young kids are carrying knives. How many times do we need to sit here and report this? Now, of course, they didn't release the name. They didn't release the pictures. This is a big case. The counterterrorism police is on this case already. They have not classified it as a terrorist attack, but the way it is, it looks like they even said, if I just carry on here on this article, they even said this was a ideologically motivated attack. You make sense you make that what you will. So this was an ideological attack. Now, here's a full report from the Telegraph. They also reported on this. The Telegraph also reported on this. Counter-terror police lead investigation into the school stabbing 2 boys, aged 12 and 13, in serious condition after American-style attack in northwest London. counter-terrorist police. Okay, two boys in which happened in Kingsbury High School on Beacon Lane in Brent on Tuesday lunchtime. On Tuesday evening, a 13-year-old.
Did he just say American style attack? Is that what they reported in their friggin' newspaper?
I have no idea.
So the Canadian news channels were reporting, comparing, like, rather than talk about the stabbing in Canada, the shooting in Canada this past week, they said, "Oh, in America it happens more often." It's like, why do they always talk about America when it's their own country involved in these mass situations, right? And these attacks and these murders of children. It's like trying to gaslight you. Well, it's not as bad as America, like aboutism, right? What about America? Let's not talk about our own. But that's crazy. So it's a longer coverage of that. It's and more detail. So do check out that the channel there. I've got the link. Sorry, the video there and the channel, of course. The links in the link is in the chat. That's Baraka Amuri. He does a very good follow-up to do with Muslim, not follow-up, but videos on Muslim pedophiles in the street who have been harassing, stalking girls and stuff like that. So there's a lot of coverage on there. So next up, let me remove that one. And this is our final video, I think. And this is another terrible, terrible situation. Again, Muslims involved, migrants involved. So, the abduction and rape of a 12-year-old schoolgirl, right? On taxpayers' dollars, he went and bought him some drinks afterwards. So here we go. Let me just get this link in there so you guys can follow it up.
A warning now that what you're about to hear is very distressing. Today, an Afghan illegal immigrant was found guilty of abducting and raping a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton. Ahmad Malakil was convicted of one count of rape following a 10-day trial at Warwick Crown Court. Now, he was cleared of a second count of rape and had already admitted to a charge of oral rape. He was also convicted of child abduction, 2 counts of sexual assault, and taking indecent photos of a child. Another man was cleared of attempting to take a child, committing an offence with intent to commit a sexual offence, and intentional strangulation.
See, they're all, working like army aged men who are basically infesting into the Europe, into UK. And these are all people who are not allowed to even see the face of a woman in their own country. Afghan, right? Where they're covered from head to toe in friggin' tablecloth, curtains. And then when they see a little girl, right, in UK, in Europe, they just can't stop themselves but to attack them for sexual pleasure, right? That's what I'm saying. Islam is culturally incompatible with Western culture. Islam is an abhorrent belief system that is based around a pedophile who basically married, right, quote unquote, right, married a 6-year-old and then raped her at 9 years old, because which 9-year-old girl is going to not understand what sex is while he was an old man? That's Muhammad for you. That's the prophet of Islam. So these guys here follow his, the Quran, follow his lead, right?
The illegal immigrant arrived on a small boat across the channel. He'd been in Britain just 4 months before raping a child. He'd been living in a house of multiple occupancy, which has no security. Malakil first spotted the 12-year-old schoolgirl playing on the swings in a park playground. He lured her down a secluded cul-de-sac before repeatedly raping her and filming the attack.
Okay. That's all I'm going to say. I'll play on that. But it's a 12-minute video. It's a news, GB News. Links in the chat. I don't want you guys to have terrible things in your brain, nor do I want terrible things in my brain. But I wanted to highlight that these people are monsters. Islam is a joke. Islam is a cruel, horrific thing instigated on humanity by a lunatic madman in a cave who wrote up all these stories. And lunacies and lunatic people are following it either ignorantly or willingly. And then they carry out his teachings on the West. Amongst themselves as well. They kill themselves as well, each other. But then now they're all middle, able-bodied men over 20, 18 and up to about 35 are now invading illegally and legally into Europe, into the West. And then they start killing, raping, and worse. And we'll be looking at that more in detail later episode. I think that's around about another 2 weeks away, because there's only so much I can handle of Islam, man, because of the things that we have to deal, to show you guys. But hey, on the monkey politics and shit throwing show, episode 7, that is us for today. Thank you so much, Tim, for joining me again. I really appreciate you. So do you have any final words as we finish here now? I say you are muted. Okay, well, Tim doesn't seem to have anything to say.
Hold on. I got it. I unmuted. Everyone have a great weekend. And if you're ever on Amazon, make sure to check out Melvin 0-3. Have a good night.
Yeah, there is. You can also get check out Tim's work and through the links here. So it's easy access to that. My one's in the chat, of course. Sorry, not in the chat. Well, it is in the chat, but also all the links are here and also in the video descriptor. If you like the show, give us a thumbs up, say something in the comments, and get the algorithm working for our sake. And wherever you are, subscribe and be well, be safe. And we'll catch you on the next one. Ka kite ano. Be well. Again, see you on Sunday, US, Monday, New Zealand, which is in about 2 days. Bye for now. Thank you, Tim.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.